An interesting thing about your vocalist background is that even though you went to college for classical music, you're now a professional jazz singer. So my question for you is, how is that like transitioning from classical to jazz? And is there anything that sticks out like, oh my God, this was crazy to transition from this to that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the first thing that blew my mind was like, oh my God, we're allowed to change the key. Like, I remember like my mind being blown, like, well, if you can't do it there, you know, if it's too strenuous or something, like, why are you singing it there? Why don't you just change the key? And I'm like, but the composer wrote it in this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. You went to school for classical piano.
I went to school for classical piano, and there is, I don't know, do you know who the pianist Glenn Gould?
Yes, I do.
So
he's like always.
Yeah. So Glenn Gould is a classical pianist, and he was either loved or hated by classical musicians. He got a lot of criticism for, he wouldn't even really go that outside the box, in my opinion, but it would be slightly outside of the box of what you would expect from a classical composition. And it would blow people's minds, like silly things. Like he would just play something staccato when it was normally played legato. And it would just, people would be outraged. Yeah, people would be outraged. But I don't think he ever changed keys. Like that was a bit much for classical, but just that tiny little, like, you know what, I'm going to be an artist and put my own spin on this would just like piss so many people off. So.
So that was mind blowing. The fact that I could change keys. And that I had so much like creative autonomy that doesn't exist in classical music, right? A big thing that I loved in the I guess truthfully, did I really transition? I mean, artistically I did, but I was always involved in jazz as an audience member. I was always going to the clubs, always hanging out with jazz folks, always asking questions about it, you know, even though my training was completely separate, and in the classical world, my performances were completely separate. But socially, I very much identified with this crowd, and I was like trying to be a part of it. But transitioning to singing is when things got a little confusing. Like I kind of had to learn to loosen up a little bit. Thankfully, my teacher, my most recent teacher, Carla Cook, she got me hip. But it was definitely challenging to explore that part of myself.
When you say loosen up, you mean the vocal style, like because you were strictly classical and loosening up for jazz? Is that what you mean?
In a way, yeah. Loosening up in a way of like, stop trying to memorize and uphold every single rule that, you know, you think has to be put into place. Start prioritizing creating something new. And trust yourself with that.
Is that a challenge still to this day? Like, do you still find yourself ever slipping into opera classical habits and you have to like shake yourself out of it?
In my approach, I don't think so. Luckily, again, my teacher is bomb. So if I do slip into that, she catches me, right? And calls me out on it. So it gets fixed real quick. But technique wise, I lean on classical all the time. But like musicality and thinking about music, I think I've done okay with learning how to compartmentalize, depending, read the room. You know what I mean?
Phrasing, like how to, that makes sense. Hey guys, it's me, your host, Andrea Pranzatelli. If you enjoyed this clip today, please don't forget to hit subscribe. It is my dream to become a full-time podcaster, and your support helps more than you could possibly know. So again, hit that subscribe button to help me keep the momentum going on this channel. Also, for every single clip, there is a link in the description to the full episode if you would like to hear the full episode. And I also have a link to my Instagram below if you'd like to follow me on Instagram as well. So that's it. Have a good day, guys. Bye.